Welcome back to the first episode of the
Yeah.
Business Podcast. So this is going to be mine and Josh's podcast where mainly we're going to be speaking about business, entrepreneurship, leveling up. This guy is already sipping on a Monster.
Mate, 2 already. What are we on, 11 o'clock?
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. We've had coffee's Monster, but we are gassed to get this podcast going because it's been in the talk for a while, hasn't it?
I might have to dip off in like 20.
Oh, this guy. But yeah, so we're excited to bring this to life and just speak about our love for entrepreneurship and business. And we're going to get some cool guests on it as well, hopefully.
Yeah, I think as well, just one of the biggest reasons that we started is, or should we say starting it is, essentially this is something that we wish that we had when we started. Obviously, we're not anywhere where we want to be right now, but I think obviously just appealing to sort of the younger audience who obviously are either already having a business and they want to take that next level, or looking to start a business and not sure where to start. Hopefully we, from what we've learned so far, and obviously the people that we bring on, can bring obviously some form of value to your journey.
Exactly. And in the grand scheme of things, we're still very early in our journeys of business. But like Josh said, we want to make sure we provide you with value and actually just show you the journey that we're two normal blokes, but we're just having fun in business. And the raw,
Two normal geezers.
Yeah, two normal handsome geezers just in the business world. So it's going to be fun. And every time like we have a few drinks, we always have these chats about business. And we always say, if we just had a camera recording us, there'll be so much value in that. And that's exactly the reason why we want to start this podcast.
100%. Well, what we're talking about.
So the first topic that we want to speak about is building your personal brand and the importance of it when running a business.
Yeah, 100%. I think same with anything. I think now it's a case of just an example that's literally just come to the top of my mind, like how strong personal branding is. For example, you have a random, I don't know, what should we say? A random restaurant, right? Literally can just be just a normal Italian restaurant. You say next week, or I don't know, Gino D'Acampo is gonna take over. Do you know what I mean? That then like that will 2x, 3x the business just straight away. I think like Daniel Priestley, I've been watching quite a lot of recently. He speaks about being key person of influence. And I think just having something like that, and I think if you just develop a good following, people buy into you as a person, people buy into your personality, I think is massively important. I think too many people, they see what other people are doing on Instagram and they try and mimic that and they try and be somebody that they're not. And I think the best way to grow is to be obviously authentic, true to yourself and everything else like that, because if you're not, people can see through it anyway. And like obviously us saying stuff like don't care about what people think, just literally be you, because if you become successful at being you, like, do you know what I mean, you never have to put on like a bravado or whatever you want to call it.
100%. And no one can replicate being you, because that's you being true and authentic. Because like you said, so many people nowadays try to be someone they're not, or they're just trying to be someone that's already successful and built their personal brand. For example, Alex Hormozy, he's a massive status in the business world, and so many people, especially with content, are just trying to copy what he says, how he does all his edits and everything the above. But eventually it wears off, and he is just a massive status where he's built his personal brand, and now that's all he focuses on, rather than having to hard sell people. And loads of people try to sell a product or service before they've even built their personal brand, and that makes it 10 times harder.
Yeah 100%. It's so like, it's just so underrated now. It's people just need to realize the power of it. I think if you get that right, and like I said, yes, it's followers, but then what comes with followers, then brand deals and stuff like that. And obviously we're not that sort of like level yet. Do you know what I mean? But it's like that just shows you the power of it, because why would it just make so much sense for a business to invest in an influencer or somebody of that sort of like influence, because it's like it brings so much value to their business. It's like a no-brainer. Do you know what I mean? So it's, I think, developing your personal brand, whatever, like I said, whether it's just business, whether it's whatever you want to go into, like it's so important.
Yeah, and a massive example of this is George Heaton for the Represent Boys. Like, he is a big part of the Represent brand.
Yeah.
So many people are bought into him that they will buy whatever he lists up just because they love him so much.
Yeah, 100%.
And he's big focus on like hustling, business, the healthy lifestyle, and people are just bought into that. Then all of their drops always sell out. Like, and there's a reason for that, because he's built his personal brand.
Yeah, 100%.
Wait, just need to It's alright. It's alright.
But then a lot of people, I guess a lot of people will say, like, how do I go about building my personal brand? Or I'm scared of talking to the camera. I'm scared of doing this. I don't know where to start. And I'm like, I remember when I first, oh my gosh, and when I first started speaking on camera, it was a massive, massive thing. And my current mentor at the time, I won't mention any names, absolutely melt. He was literally just thinking, he literally said to me, this is one good thing he taught me, was your fear of caring what people think is stopping you from taking things to that next level, whatever that looks like, whether it's in business, whether it's making more money, whether it's whatever that looks like. So are you really gonna care about what these people think? And they probably, do you know what I mean? They're really not bothered. And like Alex Hamosi says, he's like, it's a bit dark, but he said in 60 years time, everybody be gone. Nobody will know who anybody is. Do you know what I mean? And people won't even remember you. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you have a limited time on this earth in reality. Do you know what I mean? It's like, why would you not want to live your best life? Do you know what I mean? Doing what you want to do, because in reality, if you're not living like that and you're stopping yourself taking it to that next level because of what other people think, it's like you're living life on what John says about you or somebody else. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. If you really think, obviously it's easy for us to say now, we do it all the time, but like before, it's like it is a big step. And then when you take that first step of, I don't know, doing a video or doing a short story, like talking to your camera or something, you think, oh, well, actually that bad. And then you do that consistently, and then you overcome that fear. And then if you look back in the past 6 months, it's like, oh God, that's nothing. Do you know what I mean? And I think now one good thing that we have in terms of, we've been doing it a couple of years, and it's good to look back on your old videos and think, oh God, that was awful. Do you know what I mean? But if you're not looking back and thinking, like having that reaction like it was awful, it shows that you're not growing. So it's very, very important for just self-development in general, in my opinion, that you can look back at your old stuff and think, oh God, look at that. But that was your starting point, and now you're at this point. It shows the growth over time. So I think it is good to do just from like maybe a self-analysis point of view as well.
Yeah, if you don't look back at your old videos and cringe, then you're not leveling up quick enough, to be honest. Because I remember when I first started my Instagram page, I got ripped by all my mates at uni because I wasn't the biggest guy, but I just had that idea in my head that I was going to build a decent amount of muscle, and just wanted to document the process. And then I kept doing it, and I used to shit myself every time that I'd record or like post, but I just continued pursuing it. And then I just built up this evidence, like people actually came to like my page and then grew more followers. And then fast forward today, I built my business off that. So imagine if I cared so much about what John was saying at the gym to not post on social media, then I wouldn't even have a business today.
Yeah.
So it has such a snowball effect.
Yeah. I think one of the big ones as well is like, you just said there, like some of your mates was calling you and stuff like that, or like ridiculing you in some respect. I think that's the case with a lot of people, and that's one of the reasons maybe they don't start, because the word yes about what we said about people thinking about you, which is like random people, but then the people that are close to you. I think one, so it's obviously yes, having a good support system, people who support you on that side. But I think another one that people struggle with, and I still struggle with myself, is imposter syndrome. And I think like when I'm putting this information out there, like I know a lot of people are seeing it, I'm thinking, who am I to give this advice? Do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously that over time that's decreased quite a lot. And I think a big thing, and obviously I think it's just important for everybody to remember, is that you will always have that in the beginning. You probably always have it to a certain extent, like forever. Do you know what I mean? But if you look back and you think, do I have a stack of evidence that I am who I say I am, or I know what I'm actually speaking about, then in reality, take a step back, look at what you have done, look at what you've achieved. Am I qualified to speak on this particular topic? Yes. Do you know what I mean? So why am I feeling like that? So I think a little bit of self-reflection at that point massively helped me, just in terms of becoming more confident about it, backing myself much more. So I think that's quite important to do as well, because I know that is a huge thing that stops people from doing stuff like that.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that, let's say we don't have all this solid evidence. What is the first step that you'd do to actually push yourself out of your comfort zone and actually start recording on social media, on YouTube, or starting a business? Because say if you have no evidence of like, why are people going to listen to me? Why should I document it? Then what is the first step you'd give to someone that's younger and thinking, I really want to do this. I really want to start TikTok. I really want to start online business. What advice would you give to them to actually pursue that?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Or like, I'm going to answer both for it.
Say that again. I zoned out.
You won't even listen.
Yeah, keep that in, keep that in.
So, what advice would you give to a young entrepreneur wanting to start out an online business or business in general, whether that's TikTok, social media, that has no solid evidence of the people that want to listen to them or have never started? Like, what advice would you give them to pursue their dream of posting content?
I think knowing what I know now, I think obviously like everybody will move at a different pace, but I think write down like 10 ideas that you think maybe could develop into a business. 10 things that you really, really enjoy, 10 things that you are maybe passionate about. If you haven't got 10 things, just write down as many things as possible that you enjoy, because more than likely in today's world, you can make a living out of anything. Do you know what I mean? And it's very, very important, I think, that you have a passion about it, because not people know people think obviously entrepreneurship or business in general is tough, and it is, but I think until you're actually in it, so obviously these guys are obviously not in it at that point, it is hard. So when like you're in the middle of it and you're in the thick of it, and it is difficult, if you've not got a true passion for it, I think it's quite easy to give up, and you've wasted however long like you've been doing that. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's very, very important to have something that you are passionate about, because like I said, you're going to be more than likely working the majority of time, majority of the day. Do you know what I mean? So it's important that you have that drive and have that passion for it. And then I would just be putting feelers out there. So I'd message in a couple of people that I know, a couple of people that I don't know, asking if just seeing if there's a gap in the market, because it's, even if it's something you want to do, if there's not a gap in the market, it's not going to work. People don't want it. Like, no matter how passionate about it you are, it's not going to work. So I think just messaging, like I said, cold people, maybe, I don't know, message like 10 people that you don't know each day, 10 people that you do know each day. I don't know, however long you want to test that for, and then just see if people bite at it, or they want to know a little bit more about it. And then if possible, then maybe start up a WhatsApp group about it, and then add a bit of value. I don't know, maybe once a week or something like that. See if people want to sort of like take it to that next level. See if there's some, for example, we speak about like pain points and people's struggles, and obviously business is about solving problems. So if there's a problem that needs fixing within that specific niche or that specific market, then obviously you've got it. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's important to do that research first. And then if, like I said, people respond well to it, then you start taking it each step at a time. You don't want to put all this money into something, or put a bit of money into this, or put a lot of time into it, and for it not to work, or like I said there's not a demand for it in the market. So I think obviously do a little bit of testing, put the feelers out, and then go from there.
Yeah, I feel it all starts from actually taking action as well. Because you could speak about all these ideas to your mates that I'm going to start this, I'm going to start this. And I've heard it a million times from people that always beat around the bush saying that they're going to do a certain business or goal. But until they actually take any action, nothing happens. So if you're struggling of actually where to start in business, just start doing anything. And even if you're going in the wrong direction, it's better than not taking action.
Yeah,
because as soon as you start putting the reps in, you can build upon that, and then it will snowball.
Yeah.
Because when I first started, all I did was start, and I had no idea what I was doing in business, but I learned along the way. I failed quickly and built upon that. And I feel that's the quickest way to improve.
I think that's the biggest thing as well. Like, say, I mean, you can even link this to like the gym and stuff like that. People are struggle to start on certain things, or struggle to go to the gym and whatever. I think what you just said there is quite important about, you need to fail, and fail quickly. And people have like a negative mindset on failure, and I think you've got to get over the fact that you are gonna fail in some respect, whether it's small, whether it's a big failure, whatever that looks like. But getting that out of the way quite quickly, and right, this didn't work. What can I learn from it? Do you know what I mean? Same with, like I said, linking it to fitness and stuff. Like, what did we do here? Right, I didn't quite feel comfortable with this. Do you know what I mean? Oh, this happened. Let's try something different. I think the quicker you can get over them things, the quicker you can learn from them. And like I said, you can obviously develop over time. You develop much quicker, obviously, based off sort of them failures. Because you got to think, the bigger the thing you're going for, the more likely you are to have setbacks or failure. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, because this is a bigger jump in terms of growth. So yeah, I think that's quite important.
And I kind of say, like, that's all business is, problem solving. Like, you're going to get many different problems in all shape, way and forms, and it's probably going to take you a lot longer than you thought. But once you overcome these hurdles, it gets easier, and that goes in hand in hand with like doing hard things. And that's what high performers like doing. That's what we like doing. Hence why you're big into your running now, aren't you? Is it a marathon you booked or a half?
Yeah, a marathon in October, yeah.
Yeah, and most successful people and high performers, they like doing hard things like marathons, caning themselves at the gym. They like what other things along those lines, like doing CrossFit, going on hikes, things that are pretty hard because that is what you need to do in business day in and day out, and that's
Yeah.
how you reach to the top.
I think that as well, like fitness I think anybody will tell you this. Like you asked me there about what's one of the biggest things, well, the things that people can start with straight away to get things moving in the right direction. I think health as a priority just needs to be your number one. That is the foundation, and then you build off that. Do you know what I mean? You get your health going in the right direction, you're going to increase more confidence. Do you know what I mean? You're just going to feel much better within yourself. You're going to have less brain fog. All these things, all these health metrics, all these health benefits, you're going to be sleeping better, you're going to have more energy. All these things will push your career forward. Do you know what I mean? People sometimes overlook this. Do you know what I mean? Because they think, oh, I'm trying to strive for this, I'm trying to work more hours, I'm trying to do this, and they actually neglect the only thing that's obviously going to set them up for progression, set them up for failure. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I need to say that again. Did I just say the same thing? Yes, I think like anybody will tell you that, like, health as a priority, set that as the foundation. You get that going in the right direction, confidence will increase, which is obviously going to help with obviously backing yourself, obviously talking in front of people if you need to. Do you know what I mean? You're going to have less brain fog, which means you're going to have better decision making. You're going to be thinking better. You're going to be thinking clearer. Obviously, you're going to be working better as well because you'll have better productivity. You're getting more done in less time and everything else. So that needs to just be the foundation. And that's one thing that people overlook. They get too busy with work or pursuing a business or something, and the health takes a back seat, when that's one of the best things that you can prioritize to push that actual thing forward.
Yeah, I agree. And I see that all the time with people getting in this hustle culture mentality. And I actually despise that word.
Yeah.
Because putting more time and reps in doesn't mean you're going to perform better.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
No, exactly. And until you fill your own cup and actually focus on these health kind of metrics that you said, there's two entrepreneurs. Entrepreneur one that hustle cultures all the time, neglects his sleep, poor nutrition, poor health. And then there's entrepreneur two, prioritizes sleep, health, good nutrition, training, all of the above. He is going to tenfold this one, and this one is going to burn out. So it's always good to be the latter rather than this guy, because I know which one I'd put my money on.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. When, let's say, for example, looking further into the future, let's say you go to present a business idea or a presentation or a deck of something in a front of 3 or 4 people that you want to invest in your business, for example. If you walk in that room, it sounds weird, but you look chiseled, you look like you take care of yourself, you look confident. And like we know as well, like working with clients and stuff, when people have the health as a priority, they feel confident, like the chest is up, the shoulders are back, they look confident, they walk in a room and think, who's this geezer? Do you know what I mean?
Respected. When you look in shape and look better,
that's the thing.
I respect more people that are in shape. Like,
exactly. That's the thing. When you look at, that's what I'm saying. If you look at somebody that you're potentially going to invest in, do you know what I mean? You can see that they look like they take care of themselves. You know, if you're in that same position, you know it takes hard work to get to that person's point. Do you know what I mean? So, like I said, if that person can see, that investor or whoever else it is, that you look like you take care of yourself, you look like you put in the work, like, why would you not want to go in business with somebody like that? Because you know, if the times get tough, that person will have the skills and the mentality to push through them obviously points that are going to be difficult if, for example, health wasn't a priority.
Yeah, and it's not easy to build a business and be in good shape for your habits, because your routine has got to be on point, and if it's not, things slip. And that's why, like we said, we do respect people that can do both, because it's not easy by any means, hence why there's so many online coaches out there.
Yeah, 100%. I think as well with that is, you mentioned there about the structure and the routine of it. I think fitness is just a great part of your day. It provides a lot of structure to your day. For example, I know some people, they'll go to the gym in the morning and then they'll crack on with work in the day. Do you know what I mean? That's something that they do every single day. It provides structure, it provides routine, and that's what we need. Do you know what I mean? I'll always say, like, some people that we work with, I'm going to work and then I'm going to go to the gym at like 6, half 6 after I've worked. I'm thinking there's 2 things there. So the longer you leave it in the day, like, so much shit can happen in the day. It can put you off. Like, you could have a couple of bad meetings and you get to 6:30 when you're going to go to the gym. 1, it's busy, and 2, it's going to be the last thing you want to do if you've had a crap day. Do you know what I mean? on the other hand, I would always say try and start your day with one, something that's hard, and two, the gym, because when you get that out of the way, so what people don't understand is when you are exerting energy in the gym, you will feel energized for the next 10 to 12 hours. And if you can use the gym, as we've always said in the past, use the gym as like a catalyst to help push your career forward by getting all these other health benefits. And mainly because of the energy that it's going to provide, you're going to be walking into that office. As soon as you sit down, you're going to be absolutely blitzing your workout because you've obviously got that workout done in the morning. And that energy that you've got from that is obviously going to push the needle forward within your work. And that's what people don't understand is you get people like, oh, I'm going to have to exert energy in the gym. How is that going to make me more energized? You've got to exert more energy to create more energy. It's like, I always use it now, it's like an iPhone battery. Do you know what I mean? If you go into the gym, you've got 20% battery, health battery. Do you know what I mean? You leave in the gym, yes, you feel tired, but when you've had a shower, you log on at work, you're back to 100%. It's refueling your tank. And then, like I said, you're more energized for the next 10, 12 hours and happy days.
Yeah, and that's like the natural endorphins you get from working out, training, whatever that fitness passion may be. Do that hard thing. And I know I love going to the gym to split up my days, because when I've had a really heavy workload during the day, I utilize the gym sessions usually like 11, 12, and then that splits up my day. I come back, then after that session I'm like 10 times more productive because I've exerted a lot of energy. I've taken my mind off business for like an hour or two, because sometimes it's really tricky to switch off when you're deep in the business, and then you progress towards a workout as well, and stacking up all these wins as well of progressing in the gym, ticking off your gym session, getting your cardio in, eating well. You feel on top of the world. Like, you feel so great after training.
Yeah, 100%. I think as well, just coming back to that point, what you asked me earlier about what would we say to people who want to start something or take things to the next level. I think one, it's right, who do I look up to? Like, what podcast do I look at? How can I provide these people some value for free, something that they've not got to do anything? Like, can I edit some clips for them in terms of their podcast for free? What can I do for free that's going to bring value to their business, it's going to help their business move forward, literally for nothing in return? You want experience. And if, for example, you have the opportunity to, for example, get into there, like say, for example, you become part of that business and you do some free work experience, like that's so powerful, because you get to see inside another entrepreneur's business of how they operate, how they run a team, for example, how they go about their day. And literally you can just take that on board and just utilize it almost like as a funnel to your brain. And then when you can see literally how they run the day, how they run their team, how they run their business in general, like over time, you can just obviously, if you're smart about it, take this all on board, take notes. Unless you're in it day to day. Same with like weird analogy, but same with like when you're trying to learn a language. You'll learn a language much quicker if you move to that country. You will learn obviously business much quicker if you're within that business. Yes, you're not getting paid for it, but in reality, you've got to think long term. Sometimes you are getting paid an experience, and you can use that to potentially make millions in the future. Do you know what I mean? So powerful.
Yeah, and if we're playing devil's advocate with that, say if you live in an area where you have no one interested in your passion around you, you live in a small town, you have no sources to an entrepreneur business, all your friends are too busy focused on different priorities, then you have access to social media, you have access to podcasts, you have access to YouTube. You can still surround yourself with these high performers and actually consume all the content, because so many people neglect their content diet, as I like to call it, because what you consume is become. I said that so wrong.
What you consume is what you are.
Yeah, well, what you consume is what you are. So you need to really be careful of the content you consume, because if you're just scrolling and watching TikToks all day, then that's not going to help you work towards that big goal. So like I said at the start, if you are struggling with not having these high profile people around you, consume it through other people's content, read books, listen to podcasts. And that's an easy way you can be surrounded by these people if you don't have them directly around you. And I'd say that kind of goes hand in hand with your network as well, because I'm a big advocator for networking. And that's exactly how we met, me and Josh, and how we've started this podcast. We've been on multiple holidays. We always push each other forwards in business because we both have the passion and the drive for it. And that all came from me getting outside my comfort zone and going to a networking event.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like I said, it's hard to find people who want to do the same thing as you. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, we don't live close to each other. Obviously, we met at that event and stuff like that. And I think when you find that, I think it's because what I always say is when, like, we both went to uni, and obviously both went to school. And I think when you're at school, I think you have a certain amount of people that you choose in terms of a friendship group, for example. Do you know what I mean? Not necessarily they all have the same interests. Then obviously, if you go to uni, do you know what I mean? It's a little bit more sort of like niche. Do you know what I mean? You have more sort of similar interests. But then when you're in the big bad world, do you know what I mean? It's like you can pick and choose sort of who you're friends with. You're drawn to people that have obviously similar interests. And like it sounds harsh, but like what I've learned over the past couple of years is that I won't say I've lost a lot of friends, but I think you just have different interests. And I think some of my mates back home, hopefully they don't watch this. It's like in reality, it's sometimes we have conversations that I don't want to talk about. Do you know what I mean? That don't really interest me. Maybe interested me like 2 years ago, but now like we've got different interests and stuff like that, and it does just sort of like fizzle out. And by all means, we don't not get on. It's just like our interests sort of like fade away. And I think it's same with like on the other hand, let's say I want to talk about business, which obviously we talk about a lot, and obviously other mates that I talk about too, and that's something I love, and I just love talking about that all the time. And I think when you say it to somebody who hasn't got a business, it's gonna sound really like Captain Big Bollocks, but like when you're speaking to somebody who hasn't got a business, it almost sounds like you're showing off. Even if you're not talking about money, if you're just talking about yourself or you're talking about your business, somebody who has another business can relate to that and knows exactly what you mean by certain things. Whereas somebody who hasn't, is not in that world, I think it just looks a little bit like self-absorbed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I feel like that's why it's so easy to connect with someone as soon as you have the same passion. Because being honest, like we haven't met that many times. Like it's probably 10 times.
Fucking one too many times.
Yeah, too many times. But it's probably around 10 times. And we've been on 2 holidays during those times.
Oh, you're counting?
We've done Pendant going to be 3rd soon. And then we've done podcasts. We've done all these things around business just because we both have that passion and it clicked straight away. And going back to the friends thing, like it's okay to have different interests from your friends, but you just want to be careful how long you spend around them. Because if you are really passionate about it and you do love speaking about business, then it is easier than you think to make new friends upon these passions.
Yeah, it's your circle, isn't it? It's like when people say you hang around with 4 millionaires, you'd be the 5th. It's your association is. It's like, for example, like we saying that there. Yeah. Like if I didn't hang around with you or you didn't hang around with me, neither one of us would say it. Yeah. And like I don't really say it when I'm around other people. If I'm around you, I say it all the time. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's just people just rub off on people. Do you know what I mean? And it's like you can either have it a negative side, like I don't know. Do you know what I mean? You hang around with four people that smoke bud all day. You're more than likely going to be smoking bud. Do you know what I mean? On a regular basis. Do you know what I mean? Same with like drugs. Same as like just getting pissed all the time. Do you know what I mean? You're all going to do that because it's like everybody around you is doing that. Yeah. If you're around 4 people that have businesses, 4 entrepreneurs, do you know what I mean, that are successful, it's going to be very, very difficult to not be successful. Do you know what I mean? If you got the right mindset, and if obviously you're in that circle, you've got the right mindset anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's where it sounds pretty brutal, but it's okay to cut people out. If they don't align with your values and interests, then what's the point?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's like not even like cutting people out. It's just like you just fade away. Do you know what I mean? You just drift off. It's not like right. Do you know what I mean? I'm never going to talk to you again. You don't fall out with people. It's just you just have no interest. So why would you hang around with each other that much if you've nothing to talk about?
Yeah, but a lot of people think like they've been friends since school. So like, I've been friends with people for 10 years. I've been friends with you for a lot less. We have different interests, but one of us click more, and that's okay. Yeah. But it's just understanding that. And I feel like a lot of people that may be listening to this that are fairly younger, and they're in the journey where they've got these new interests, these new goals, and their old friends don't align with that. And you're kind of in this middle boat where you're kind of building upon this new set of people whilst trying to be friends with these old set of people, and it can feel very lonely, can't it?
I was gonna say that's the point where I think I had that like year and a half ago. My missus was like, "Oh, like you don't hang around with everybody, you just work, and you don't see many people. Like you need to get out more." And I'm like, at the minute, like yeah, it's lonely, but a lot of the time, like even the most successful entrepreneurs in the world will say it is lonely at times, you know what I mean? But to get to a point where I want to get to, obviously that you want to get to, you have to do things that other people don't want to do. And like other people sometimes they need to be around people all the time and stuff like that. I love my own company, do you know what I mean? And I'm happy with that. And by all means, I don't want to be an absolute like just loner, do you know what I mean? I appreciate that. But like a lot of the time, it's work, and like I've got obviously mates I've had for like 5-6 years who again live in Manchester, like 10 minutes away from me, but we hardly see each other. But because we're both in the same boat, we all have businesses and stuff like that. It's like we get it, and like other people, like my missus says a lot, like, why do you not see him? Why do you not see him? I'm like, they get it. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, people who haven't got business and stuff like that, they can't relate. It's like, why are you not seeing each other? And I'm like, well, we're working like 10, 12, 14 hours a day within the week. Can't just nip out for a pint or nip for food in the week. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you can, but a lot of the time it's not possible. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not that we don't get on, it's that we've both got stuff to do.
Yeah, and when business is such a priority as well, like we love working, so it's a big passion of ours to continue building the business and pushing the needle forwards. So it's fun. Like I'm the same. I love my own company. I love being around people, but I also love my own space, and that is where I can kind of recharge my social battery and smash out loads of work.
Yeah, 100%. That's the thing as well. Like, I think somebody said to me the other day, like, why do you work so much? And I said, do you know what? You know, my perfect weekend is like going to a coffee shop both Saturday and Sunday, going to the gym, going for a run on Saturday and Sunday, and then just working, just chilling out, working. Yes, by all means, I'll get a lot done. It'd be more chilled out work, so I might be listening to a podcast or listening to music while I'm just, do you know what I mean? But that is my idea of fun at the minute, and it's mental. Never thought I'd say that, but like that's such an ideal weekend for me. It sounds a bit sad,
No,
but
100% the same. Like even better if it's in like a different country where you go bit of a work in the morning, run, gym, beached up for the rest of the day. Like I think that's the ultimate vibes. But if you asked James 3 years ago, it'd be a completely different answer. I'll be too busy focused on events, going out, going to nightclubs, because back then it just wasn't as much a priority.
yeah,
And it's completely flipped now.
yeah, 100%. No, I love it, and I think that was what Homozy says in it, and he was like, you don't win at marriage, you don't win at fitness, you don't win at business. Like the main objective is to keep playing. Like he says, obviously keep playing the game. Like his podcast is called The Game. He's like, you don't win at marriage. The aim is to stay married. You don't win at fitness. The aim is to stay in shape.
Yeah.
You don't win like in business. The aim is to stay in business. Do you know what I mean? That is winning. And I think this is just. I mean, that's a great perspective to sort of like how to look at it. But I think just doing what we do every single day. And like I even said to people, like I could get paid 500 quid a month. Obviously, I'd need another job with that, but like I could pay 500 quid a month and like work 40, 60 hours doing exactly what I'm doing now, and I'd be happy because it's a fulfilling job. I'm living life on my own schedule, like, and do you know what I mean? I enjoy it, and a lot of the time that's when people say, oh, how can you work 10, 12, 14, 16 hours? I'm like, because I love it. Do you know what I mean? And like, the missus is always saying, you need to take a rest, you need to take a rest, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm like, a lot of people will say that, and it's obviously not just her, I keep referring back to her, but like a lot of people will say that, like work-life balance and stuff like that. And I think that's because a lot of people, I think, and that's just my opinion, but that the way they feel about their job is how they think we feel about it. And they couldn't imagine working 12, 14, 16 hours doing, I don't know, whatever that looks like. I don't know, recruitment, sales, whatever that is. Do you know what I mean? Because they have a negative aspect on a career, on work or something like that, and I love it. So it's like I don't mind working 14, 16 hours, but obviously sometimes, by all means, some people love the job, don't get me wrong, but like other people that say that, I feel like, why are you putting the way you feel about a certain thing onto me? Do you know what I mean? I love what I do. If you don't love what you do, right, do you know what I mean? Like, keep quiet.
Yeah, I feel that's a strong reflection of most people that just hate their job in the UK.
Yeah.
Because they have that negative coloration with work. So like Monday comes around, they're like, oh, the weekend's over. It's gone so quick. I've got work Monday. It's completely different. Like, I'm gassed on a Sunday to sleep,
exactly.
do my calendar, get ready for the week.
Exactly. I think that's why people keep always going on about like work-life balance, work-life balance, work-life balance. Like, work's fun for me.
Yeah.
I want your mindset is that work isn't fun. So you're telling me to have balance within my schedule. You're actually stopping me from doing something that I enjoy. What do you enjoy? For example, let's say you love, I don't know, just chilling out watching Netflix or something. You want me to go up to you and say you need to stop watching Netflix? Do you know what I mean? Doesn't make sense.
No.
Like, and that's what I mean. It's just a completely different mindset, and people don't respect that. I think, and maybe not even respect that. That's probably the wrong word. I think people just, because they don't have that perspective, it's like, why are you actually doing this? Why do you want to put yourself through that? Why would you want to work Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah.
I have no days off. Like, have you got life? I'm like, this is my life.
Yeah.
Business is not work. Business is life.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, building your business around life, the freedom, the time, the location freedom that comes with it. Like, don't get me wrong, it is hard, but that's part of it, and that's what we love about doing hard things. And I do agree with what you said. Until people are in that circle of business, it's hard to explain to someone that's not.
Yeah. It is literally just that. I think even when I first started this and I was like, I got into it. Sorry.
God.
Sorry.
Clip that.
Keep that in, lad. But I think even when I first started this, I was like, oh God, is this what it's like? Like, I can't switch off. I'm like always thinking like, and it is difficult. And now I've just come to the, what's the word? I've just come to the conclusion that is the way it's going to be. Like, I'm always going to be like switched on. Do you know what I mean? Until I've obviously got to a certain point where I want to get to, and I do realize that's never going to happen. You always move the needle forward, like the benchmark always moves. But I think just having a different mindset on it now, like I literally, that Ali Abdal was saying yesterday, and I was watching his podcast, and it was like, I don't have to do this. I get to do it. It's like, it's a switch in that mindset of it. And I think it's the same with a lot of stuff. If you just look at, it's how you view a certain situation. Like, for example, I had a client, like, I think it was like 2 months ago, and like, he lives in Spain. He don't live in Spain, sorry. His family lives in Spain. And his family come over and see him like once every 2 months. And he was saying that like, oh, my dad came last week, and he was like pulling on my like love handles and like calling me a little bit. And I'm like, right. I says, there's two things. One, my dad was a dickhead. I says, you can't stop that. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you just agreed with me. Your dad's a bit of a knob, but can we change that? No. Like, if that's his personality, that's the way he's going to be. What we can change is next time he comes in the next 2 months, you're going to be 10, 12, 14 kilos down, and then when he tries to grab them love handles, they're going to be nothing to grab there. So it's like, it just a random little tangent there, but it's like, it's what can we, that's a negative situation, right? It's not nice to hear, but what can we pull out of that negative situation that's going to almost add on to our lives, so we can use it as motivation to obviously lose that weight quicker. So when he does come in 2 months, back in 2 months' time, he's like, oh mate, you look so much better. Do you know what I mean? It's like, perspective is everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can just, a little bit of a flick of the mindset, and in that certain situation can just completely mean something completely different.
Yeah, and pulling that back with what you said about perspective is everything. And I kind of think no situation is inherently bad. It's how you take that situation and apply it. Like, for example, the worst things can happen in life. Like, within my own experience, I know a lot of bad things have happened, but you can always create some kind of positivity within that situation. But it all comes from your mindset and your thought process. Because so many people get tied up in their thoughts that they're not actually seeing their actions to go along with it. And then it just has a slippery slope. But it all comes down to how you kind of see a situation, what your perspective is. And that all comes from building your mindset.
Yeah, 100%. I think people speak about growth mindset all the time, and I think it's massively, massively important, because, like we said earlier, when business is tough, but then sometimes it gets really, really tough. Like, I lost 2 clients last week, and I sacked off 2 clients. And yes, it's a hit on revenue, and then you think, oh, like, where am I going to get my next client from? You start panicking. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that can sometimes get on top of you and get overwhelm you. And I think, just touching on that, there's not many negatives to business, I guess. But one big thing that I sort of struggle with, and there's a massive focus on me for this year, is becoming more present. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, like my mum or the family, or just the missus will sometimes just say to me, like, I feel like I'm talking to you and you're just not there. And like, that's one thing that is a massive focus for me, and I struggle with at the minute, is just living, for example, yes, living in the moment, but just being present. Like, and I think it's what's his name? I think his name's, I can't remember his name now, but he put it in massive perspective about like time and people's lack of it, and how urgent like life is and how short life is. And he put it into perspective, like, let's say, for example, if I go and see my grandparents, like, and let's say they're both, let's just say, for example, they're both 75. you haven't, let's say they lived to 85, like I said, a bit of a deep subject, but let's say they lived to 85, you haven't got 10 more years of seeing them. Let's say, for example, you see them once a year. You've got 10 more visits to see your grandparents before they pass away.
Yeah.
So just, do you know what I mean there? It's mental. Again, just flipping the mindset of how you view a certain situation. And if I go and see my grandparents, I'm just on my phone all the time, not engaging in conversation and stuff like that. I'm not present. Like, right, that's one. I've got 9 left. Do you know what I mean? How many times am I going to do that? And how many times am I going to be present for a certain situation? Because it's like, let's say, that the bad thing happens, like you can look back and think like, oh, I should have made more of that. Do you know what I mean? You'll only regret it after that certain things happened. So I think if you can do something about it prior, I think obviously, it's much better, isn't it?
Yeah, and time's like limited. Like that's one thing you can never get back. And as you get older, you move out, you move away from people, and it's a lot harder to see like your parents and family and things. Like you said, you only see them at potentially like Christmas, birthdays, like occasions, and then you move to a different place and it gets even less. So I agree. I'm trying to do the same this year, especially had some interesting news from my perspective as well. And speaking about like grandparents, like I lost all my grandparents a while back, and most people still have their grandparents now. And I always say to them, like, make time, spend time with them, be more present. And that's like when being around your mates as well. Don't go on your phone away, put it away, be more present and enjoy the time, enjoy the passage of time, as Jimmy Carr says. And another thing that goes in hand with this is what Alex Hormozy says about people have already hit goals that already said that would make them happy. And I think that quote is actually so hard hitting, because younger James right now would be screaming to be in the position I am right here. And I always forget that because I'm already focused, too busy focused on the future, trying to get to the next step, pushing the needle forward in business, rather than being present and thinking about this process has been crazy.
Yeah, 100%. It's like what they always say, you obviously climbing the mountain, you need to look back of how far you actually climbed so far. Because obviously when you get to the top, it's like, right, what's next? It's never going to be like, right now we are living in a moment where like we should look back. We'll look back in 5 years and think, oh, like, you should be proud of yourself. Do you know what I mean? We were doing well then, but right now I'm thinking I'm slacking. And I think a massive thing is that's a contributing factor to that is like comparison. Like like social media is, yes, it's good. Obviously we work off it, like we need it, but you're comparing yourself to people all the time, and I think it's very, very important. Like obviously going back to people who are starting out and stuff like that, you need to block that out as much as possible, because for example in your position there, if you've not started something, you're going to compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 20. You're looking at somebody on Instagram, you're looking at all like living a flash lifestyle, living in Dubai or wherever they're living. Do you know what I mean? And you can think, all right, I'm slacking. Or you can see somebody in your position who's been doing it the same amount of time and is making 10 grand a month more than you. And like, you'll always have that. It's obviously easy for me to say now, but like, and I'll still have that thought. But it's trying to have in your mindset that you will get there if you're in the right company. Yes, you put the work in. Yes. And obviously you follow a process step by step and have more so like a mentor to guide you and take that guesswork out of it. But I think just comparing yourself to people all the time is going to make the situation right now, which you should be proud of yourself that you're in. You should be obviously enjoying what you're doing. But it's having two different ways you can look at it. And it's like, yes, you look at it and think it's going to get you down. I should be there. Why is he at that certain point or she at that certain point when I work harder than them or whatever else? I'm like, if somebody's where you're not and you're where they want to be, they're better at you in some form of way. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to respect that, or they're just further into the journey. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you can obviously look at it in a negative way, but in a positive way, you can use it as fuel and be like, right, that's giving me a kick up the arse. I need to put my finger out. Yes, I'm working harder, but I need to work even harder. Do you know what I mean? People are passing me. Yes, I'm doing better than this group of people here, but there's another group of people here. And when you get to that group, it's like there's another group and another group and another group. Like, I was watching Kevin Hart and Joe Rogan did a podcast like a while ago, but I watched it a couple of months back, and he was saying that you get to a certain level of, let's say, income and status where like you hang around with these people, and then you get to another level and it's like these people, and you almost like, you look at it as if you go into a room and then there's like, you open a door to this other room of other people, and then there's like you go up here and there's like another group of people that are like, do you know what I mean? Like there's like people who earn 100,000 a year, 1 million a year, 10 million a year, and it's like there's these billionaires, and it's like every room you get in as well is like smaller people as you get smaller group of people as you get to the top. And I think just a weird way of looking at it. But like I said, you can view it as a positive or a negative. So I think it's important to do that, because you will, like, you probably already do it now if you're already in the business, or if you just before you starting, you're always going to compare yourself. So just think like everybody does it, and it's like, right, how can I view it? Am I going to view it as a negative, or am I going to view it as a positive and use it for my own motivation?
Yeah, and that's like what they say, comparison is the thief of joy. And just to add to what you said there, I like the kind of perspective you have of using this as a motivator and fuel. Because if someone's doing better than me, I want to understand why. So I'm going to speak to them, hang around them, and see what they're doing that I'm not. And then you can just use that to push yourself forward. And that's an easy way to progress very quickly. Surround yourself with these people that are doing better than you, because you don't want to be the biggest guy in the room. If you're the biggest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
So I like going into places where I'm probably like maybe the lowest earner, the lowest on this in terms of like knowledge in this topic, and then that's how you excel, because you surround yourself with these people that are doing better than you, and then you just learn constantly and absorb all this information, and then you can apply it to your own situation, your own business, your own goals, and continue leveling up.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. I think, why would you want to be? Yeah, it might be good for your ego to be the best or the most successful at your friendship group, but you're not getting any value from that friendship group. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to be like, I want to be the smallest person in that room. Do you know what I mean? It's because then if I know if I'm the smallest, I can learn the most. Do you know what I mean? I have an advantage. Yes, all you lot are ahead of me, but for this specific moment, I'm taking more out of it than any of you, because you're all at a point where I want to get to, and I'm not.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
I feel like lots of people kind of see that in staying in like your hometown and not moving out. I feel like lots of people just staying stuck in the same situation, and I feel like whenever I go home, I feel like I'm regressing.
Yeah.
I actually hate, like, nothing against my parents or anything, I just hate going home, because I see the same things, I see the same places, I see the same people, and they're still doing the same thing, and I'm just like, that's crazy to me.
Small town mentality.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything worse.
Mate, like, me and two of our friends moved to Manchester. Like, we still had 3 months left of uni. I was on like, I think I was on like 550 quid a month, and I think I can't afford to live there. I was like, I'm just gonna do it, And it was the best thing ever. Like, moving, like, if anybody's listening to this now, probably not right now because nobody subscribed, but going forward, like, just even if you just move, like, I don't know, maybe the next town along or something. If you've been in that same village or town or city for the whole of your life, like, time to just push yourself out your comfort zone, meet new people, get in a different environment, because it will spark all these different ideas. And obviously, saying what we said earlier about just self-development overall in general, is when you do that, you're putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. And when you're outside of that comfort zone, you will grow. You have no option to grow. Same with what I did there. Like, I was living on 500 quid a month at uni. I was living off a student loan as well. Then we moved to Manchester. I think the flat rent was like 650. So I was minus 100 quid. So I didn't know what I was going to do. And like, I think that's one there is speaking to coming out your comfort zone. My back was fully to the wall. It was like I was glued to the wall, mate, and I didn't know what I was going to do, but I had no other option but to earn more to keep my head above water. And I think that's one thing as well, that like people can, well, if they're living at home with their parents, great, yeah, banking money, that's fine, but it's like it's comfortable, and you're never going to push yourself as much as you could do if, for example, you're stretched. So what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, you're like living at home, maybe like rent free, for example, you've got no actual reason to make more money. You're comfortable, like you can live off your mum and dad or whatever else that looks like. If you move out, then you've got bills, you've got rent, like whatever that equals or whatever like that. You then have responsibilities, so you've got to take your income to another level to keep your head above water. And just by doing that simple action, you're pushing yourself up to the wall. And when your back is to the wall, you will realize your full potential. Do you know what I mean? Because you have to make it work. You have no other option, or you lose. You're going to be living on streets.
You lose your place.
And you need that. You 100% need that. Like, I don't think I would be where I'm at right now if I hadn't made that move to Manchester and pushed myself out of the comfort zone, because like I said, if you're not, you can get stuck in a trap of, and a year will go by where, oh, I was going to do this thing, but I don't really need to do it. Do you know what I mean? If you need to do something, you have no other option to do it, you will get it done. Do you know what I mean? And then, like I said, that will just compound over time, and who knows where it'll take you.
Yeah, the same thing happened with me. Like, I moved out when I was in my overdraft. There's nowhere near I could afford it. I was comfortable at home. I wasn't paying rent, but I was comfortable, and that's what I didn't like. So me and my mate spoke, and we moved out. So it's something that I couldn't really afford the bills, but I found the money. I worked harder, and that was a massive, massive motivator for making me succeed and to push me out of that comfort zone, because it's so easy just to be comfortable in your own bubble and not have to push yourself because you don't need to. And that kind of goes on to this other point that I was listening to a podcast the other day about burning the boats. And this analogy means you're so focused on plan A that you eliminate plan B because you're so set on this one's going to work. And that's exactly what I've taken in my business, because I've put in so much time, so much work that I have no other backup option because I know it's going to work.
That's the thing as well. Just trigger my thought there about that's one thing that annoys me is coming back to about like filming yourself on camera, like worried about what people are thinking. Like, just take the plunge. Do you know what I mean? It's so obviously it's easy for us to say now, but like there's so many people holding themselves back because they care about what people think. Do you know what I mean? If by all means, if you're happy with how you live in, you're happy with your current situation, everything else like that, great. But like, if you are not happy with your current situation, let's say for example, if you're not happy with your current body, your current job, like your current like relationship status, there's only you that can do something about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to take action, right? What's one thing that I can do to get a better body? Right, I need to go in the gym, I need to do this, I need to do that. Do it. Do you know what I mean? Stop making excuses. It's only you that can do something about it. And too many people make so many excuses about something that they have full control over, and it puts a massive, massive beam upon it. I'm like, you physically cannot have an issue with this thing because you are the only person that can make that thing better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, massively. And I'm sure you're the same as well. You always see the potential that people have. And so many people are sitting on this potential and do nothing about it. And that actually annoys me.
It's being comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah, and can eat you up. But the thing is, we're not normal people. Like, for the average person, they must be happy. They may be happy in their job, happy with their lifestyle, and that's completely cool. I understand that. But I don't want to live for a mediocre life. And I'm pretty sure you share the same perspective, because we want to have this extraordinary life where we're surrounded by high performers. People have a passion for entrepreneurship, doing these crazy things. So that just doesn't sit right with me.
I think as well that like people say, "Oh, I'm happy, I'm content." I'm like, bollocks, mate.
Yeah.
If you chat, I think a lot of people say that as well. Like, "Oh yeah, like I'm happy." Do you know what I mean? Or I'll do it next week. I'll do it at this point. I'm like, I think you're just telling yourself that because you know that it's going to take a certain amount of work to get that certain result. And I think you can sometimes tell yourself that, and it makes you feel better about the certain situation. And I think if you just do the thing, and then that compounds over time. Like we said earlier, you don't know where it's going to take you. Do you know what I mean? But taking that first step, whatever that first step looks like, is always going to be the hardest. Even like I said, with the gym, like I use the gym a lot because it's an easy sort of like analogy to use. But like, the biggest thing is putting on your shoes and walking through them gym doors. When you're actually in there, it's easy. But like, that's apart from getting out of bed, for example, getting in the car, going to the gym. That phase there, that part of the journey is the most difficult. You get in the gym, like, you think, oh, what was all that about? Do you know what I mean? But people don't ever want to take that first step, and they keep putting it off. And then like 3-4 years have gone by, do you know what I mean? They're still in the same situation. And I'm like, that's what I'm coming back to. Like, you have the power. There's only you that has the power to make the change. And if you're constantly moaning, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, you have the power to change it. And if you don't want to change it, then don't moan about it because you haven't got the right to do so.
Yeah, it grinds my gears that people moan about the situation but take no action. And that's so common in the UK. People just love to bitch about it.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. I don't like this. Do something about it then. Stop moaning about
mate,
it.
it's honestly, it's ridiculous. And then people take the piss out of other people saying, oh, who do you think you are? I won't want to do this. I won't want to have a body like that. I won't want to eat like that all the time. That's no life. And I'm like, I want to live like that. I feel better. I feel good about myself when I eat like this, when I look like this. Do you know what I mean? I feel more confident. I'm better in business. I'm better within myself. I'm more confident. Like, do you know what I mean? Even if it's like talking to the opposite sex, bringing that back to the point. If you're not happy with your current relationship status, you know that looking better, like it sounds a bit like nasty, but you know that looking better, whether in your body, whether it's like just looking, taking care of yourself more, you're gonna get more of the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that there, like, it's so easy to do, but you don't want to make the change to actually get the result that you're actually already moaning about. So yeah, just don't moan about it.
Yeah, we could probably speak about this topic for the whole podcast.
Yeah, mate. It's raging me, mate.
Yeah, we're coming up. We want to do our closing tradition, don't we? We're going to ask that question.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to end the poddy with this question that we're going to ask ourselves and guests that we have all the time to make sure we provide you with value. Do you want to read out?
Yeah, I don't know.
Put it up on your phone.
Yeah, I'll get it on my phone.
Because after every podcast, we want to make sure you have some sort of actionable value that you can take away.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So obviously, no subscribers right now, but obviously in the future, there's going to be people out there. I'm going to say a lot of people. I'm not sure how obviously deep we're going to go. But yeah, there's going to be people out there that have obviously in a position where they want to start a business. They're not sure how to sort of like get started. So obviously on the first one there, what would you say to them guys or them women who, like I said, they want to take that first step? They know they want to start a business, but they don't know how to go about it in the first place. What can they get started on today to make sure that obviously they start moving in the right direction as soon as possible?
So one thing you can do is you have this idea in your head, write this idea down, get it out of your head, get it onto paper, and then split it down into different steps. How can you take action straight away? Action 1 can be finding people that are already successful in this field, whether that's social media, whether they have a book, whether they have a podcast. Study them, understand their habits, kind of scroll back to their day one journey and see how they started. And then you can pinpoint exactly how to get the business moving. And rule number 1 is just start. Whether you know how to do that situation, that service, that product, take action, fail quickly, and then build upon that position.
Yeah, 100%. I think that failing quickly thing is massive. Yeah. And I think, like I said earlier, thinking of obviously the idea, writing down a couple of things that you're interested in, putting the feelers out there, speaking to people that you know, speaking to some of the people you don't know. Is there a gap in the market for it? Do you know what I mean? If there isn't, even if you want to do it, like, I'm going to be honest, it will be a waste of your time. So it's making sure that, yes, it's something you want to do, but it's also making sure there is a gap in the market for that. And like I said, maybe if not, maybe you can create it, but more than likely you can't, being fully transparent. So like I said, it's making sure that you're putting the feelers out there, seeing if obviously people are interested, and then building from there. But I think what I said earlier, it's massively underlooked. You need to do stuff for high up people, whoever you look up to, for example, or people who are in a position where you want to get to. Try and do something for free for them. Try and offer them as much free value as possible. And when I say that, don't be like, oh, can you send me this? Can you send me this? And I'll send you over my free stuff. They need to not do anything for it. Like, they're running the business, they've got stuff to do. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, right, what can I do to push your business forward for free? And like I said, by all means, going forward, if you can get within that business and still work for free, see how obviously the operations go, see how they run a business, see how they run a team, everything else like that. It's like just skill stacking. It's obviously what can you learn from that? And I think, like I said, just obviously watching as many podcasts on them specific topics, people in that industry and stuff like that, you will learn a lot from it. And then you'll learn a lot from it and take it from
there. Yeah, I agree. Well, that's the end of episode 1
of the YEAHHH
business podcast. So hit all that good stuff, the like, subscribe, and comment down below if you're watching this.
Yeah, please sub. Yeah, please. I want to make millions from this.
From our first listener. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this thing goes. So thanks for listening if you got this far.
Anybody, any brands as well, want to send us anything in, give me a discount code. Lovely.
Yeah. All right. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Peace. Yeah.